How do you top Everyday Monsters by Christian Francis? You want to know the correct answer? You don't. You do something completely different. And that's what Incubus the Descent by Christian Francis is. A complete, just not necessarily a 180, but it's very different. The humor is dialed back and the horror is brought like tenfold. We open with probably one of the most horrific things I've read in years. Just like, you thought things in Everyday Monsters were horrific? Oh, no. You haven't read Incubus the Descent. There are no holds barred. Just vile, nasty stuff in like the best way. We have Count Frank comes to his castle after battle. This is like the Crusades, I guess, or a little after that. I'm trying to figure out the timeline because it's an area of history that I haven't been taught since middle school. Well, he comes home to find that his wife has been murdering townsfolk and sacrificing them, and just not even the children survived. It's like Revenge of the Sith with Anakin and the Younglings, but like 5 times more disgusting and vile and just makes your skin crawl. And so, rather than kill her directly, he has her bricked up in her room, bathing in a pool of blood, where he thinks she'll slowly die. But she says that she will always haunt him in the darkness. So Frank goes and sort of goes on his own crusade to fight evil and like demons and stuff. Sort of like a Solomon Kane thing, but not as much brooding. Meanwhile, second story, but equally as important, is Rebecca. Rebecca is a film actress who's left Hollywood and is in a production of Macbeth as one of the witches. Which witches are the big thing in this book. Witches are evil. Like, the witches are running the show now in Incubus the Descent. They are just the most evil thing. Rebecca doesn't know that she is for a greater purpose that is evil, and has been living basically a lie. And that's what I'm going to say about that. Although it is the creepiest version of the Truman Show you're ever going to see. Though, minus millions of people watching, but just a life controlled like that by an unknown force. And Rebecca is seeing what her destiny is of destruction. But is it her, really? Meanwhile, Frank meets up with Gobalt, a character we only heard by name in Everyday Monsters, but is now a main character and a wonderful character. He brings some of the little comic relief by how brazen and rude he is. So Gobalt and King James enlist Frank into their army of fighting evil. Because there's good monsters and bad monsters. So that's a thing now. That Everyday Monsters has like set the precedent. There's good and bad monsters. So we're continuing that in Incubus the Descent, and this book is these two different stories connecting in a very interesting way that's very shocking, and I won't discuss it further. Like, I don't want to spoil anything. This book is intense, and I mean, it is not for the squeamish. There's some real graphic things in this book. The witches are terrifying. Like, it is just creepy AF. I'm just saying, just nasty things in this book. Something else important is that there are a lot of references to Everyday Monsters, But honestly, you could probably read Incubus the Descent without reading Everyday Monsters. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily, because Everyday Monsters is a great introduction into this whole storyline of the Animus Chronicles, which is becoming really, especially at the end of this book, it's like, oh, that's how it like really connects. So that's a thing now with this book. It just so I literally just finished it like 10 minutes ago, and I was like, I gotta record a video right now. And I am so excited to read the spin-off, The Sacrifice of Anton Stacy, which is a tale within the universe, but I don't think it's actually going to connect. And I'm sorry, this is what happens when you live so close to other people. There's just a lot of sound. Anyway, what did I think of Incubus the Descent? It was fantastic. It just went above and beyond my expectations. I was shocked. I was like fist pumping, basically. I was mortified at times. There was not a dull moment in this book. Personally, I prefer the Gobalt and Frank stuff, just because there's like more action in it, and there's some just fist pumping moments. Rebecca's stuff is fascinating in like the horror aspects. You get a lot of, although you do get it with Gobalt and Frank, but like Rebecca's stuff is just shocking because of just her world is not what it seems. But I won't spoil that. I gave Everyday Monsters a 5 out of 5, but this surpasses that. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 5. Why not? I make the rules around here. I hope you enjoyed this review of Incubus the Descent by Christian Francis. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. Join me next time as I review The Sacrifice of Anton Stacy.